Hey everyone, it is late at night and I am Norman. I own two ultra thin watches. One of them was a gift to the channel from one of you all, and the other one is actually part of my trade challenge. And I was wearing one of them the other night and realized that I don't think I've ever put these two watches side by side before. So I figured I would dedicate an entire video to the thinnest watches that I own, so let us begin. Okay, before we start looking at these watches, there's a problem. I got out my calipers right before recording this and realized I kinda need to change the whole premise of this video because I was completely wrong. So let's look at these watches and I'll explain. Okay, so when I was going through my collection looking for the thinnest watches, I'm glad that I remembered about the Juvenia. I thought that we would be looking at just quartz pieces, but for those of you who don't care for quartz, I was hoping there was something mechanical that we can look at, and you guys can have fun as well. But let's start with the thickest watch that we'll be looking at tonight. My Neo Vintage Movado Museum. You can see that it is quite thin, which is exactly what we're looking for tonight. And when you're wearing this on the wrist, it looks thin. However, surely this is the thickest one that we'll be looking at. There's another one that I'm guessing is also probably on the thicker side. So let's get out the calipers and get some hard numbers. All right, so this is 5 millimeters thick. Such a brilliant watch. All right, so 5 millimeters for this one. There's the Seikko Dolce, which I think will also be on the thicker side of the watches we're looking at tonight. Look at that. Such a gorgeous watch. And this one is also quartz. So let's take the calipers to this one. Yeah, it is also 5. All right, so both this and the museum are 5 millimeters thick. Let's look at the next one. The absolutely brilliant Juvenia watch. And this came from one of you all. Look at that. This is a mechanical watch and it is that thin. It's just crazy. And look at how thin it would be if that crystal wasn't there. If it was a flat crystal. Wow. Although that may not be possible because the hands might be raised up enough to where you couldn't have a flat crystal. But if that were possible, this would be a thin watch. So with the crystal on there, and this is a box crystal, it is 6.5 millimeters in thickness. Now, if that crystal wasn't there, let's see, we could try and get a measurement of the crystal's height as best we can. Maybe about there. So the crystal's about 2 millimeters. So if that weren't there, this would be a 5 millimeter watch, just like the Movado Museum. So this vintage mechanical watch, for the most part, is as thin as the quartz Movado Museum, minus the crystal. This watch looks so amazing. I love how minimal and Bauhaus it is. Okay, now we'll get to the two thinnest watches in my collection. The Citizen Stiletto. And this is a piece that's currently part of my watch trade challenge, unless I end up just hanging on to it, because I do have a lot of watches in my watch trade challenge. I'm gonna have to do an update video So if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, you may want to do so. Make sure to turn on notifications and hit the like on this video. That way maybe you can catch that video where I'll go over all the watches that are currently up for trade. But there it is. Super thin. I love the dial on this. The legibility is great because of the silver colored, the matte silver gray indices on it. Okay, let's see how thick this is. Okay, that's crazy. This is as thick as the Movado Museum. I was completely wrong. I thought this and the Titan were by far the thinnest watches that I have. So yeah, the whole premise of this video is a little bit different now. Because all the watches we're looking at tonight, except for the Juvenia, because of its crystal, they're all equally thin. The Movado Museum is just as thin as this piece. But with its larger case, it appears to be thinner. Okay, let's look at the last one. The Titan watch, which also came from one of you all. I absolutely love this piece, and this was the inspiration for this video. I was wearing it the other night and thought it would be fun to put it up next to the Stiletto. This one is extremely thin. Surely this is the thinnest watch that I have. I mean, look at that. The dial on this is amazing. I like how minimal it is, and it has some 3 dimensions to it, even though this watch is super thin. I love that it's two-handed. I had to have the battery replaced in this about a month or so ago, and I could not find a battery that had the dimensions of the one that was in this. I had to take it into my mall watch guy, and he replaced it, so next time I have to replace a battery, I should have a reference that is accessible. Whatever he put in this, I should be able to get online. But let's see how thin this is. You have got to be kidding me. This is 4 millimeters, so it's as thick as the Seikko Dolce. Hold on. I know we just did this a bit ago, but... oh, wait. That's right, the Seikko Dolce is 5. Okay, so this is the thinnest watch that I have, by 1 millimeter. Pretty wild. Yeah, ultra thin watches are super cool. And with all of the watches we've looked at tonight, when you're wearing them, you can tell. So there you have it, all of my really thin watches, and shockingly, they're all very similar in how thin they are. I mean, the Titan is definitely the winner, but I didn't realize that my other thin watches were pretty much just as thin as the Stiletto. And if you remove the crystal, the Juvenia, which is a manually wound mechanical watch, might actually be tied with the Titan. That is crazy. Thanks for watching.